One of the worst pieces of advice you can receive and follow in this life is be yourself. Be yourself. The world stamps this advice on t-shirts, social media, on posts, on songs, puffing up their chest, and with great pride they say, you have to be yourself, don't imitate anyone, you are unique. It is a word that is supposed to motivate, to lift the self-esteem of people and free them from following others. And as the best lies, this advice is a half-truth, which is also a half-lie. I understand the idea of you not being obsessed, worried about looking at the lives of others and trying to imitate them. It is common for a young man to learn who they are, their own identity, their place in the world. It is common for them to look at idols, to have idols, people he admires, who have success in his own eyes, and then he begins to imitate them in their hair and how they dress. The result of this is the most young people are copycats. Even those who say, I am myself, they are imitating someone. They are unaware that they are impersonating someone who says, I am myself. So the truth is, it is impossible for the human being not to imitate. If you stop and think, it is impossible for someone to survive as a human being without imitating what they see in people at some level, in some way. We will always imitate someone in something. This is not necessarily bad, because if it was, the Bible, the Word of God, wouldn't give the following tip. Look at this. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 1. Therefore, be imitators of God as dear children. It is typical for the son, as a child, to want to imitate the father. He wants to wear the same shirt. He wants to support the same football team as the father. He wants to do the same things as the father. He feels more like a man. That man who he admires, he wants to imitate. It is natural. That's why the Word of God says, therefore be imitators of God as dear children. So the child, the son, wants to imitate the father. What happens is when they stop being a child and changes to adolescence, he wants to distance from the father. So the things that the father does are now outdated, old-fashioned. These are things from my old father. So he stops wanting to be like him and to rule out his father's example. This is the common path that most follow, which is the wrong one, because it's when the teenager begins to have problems, because he doesn't imitate his father, who is mature, who loves him, wants the best for him, and he begins to imitate his school friends. He starts to imitate the bully in school, those in school who don't care about him, but they will imitate them. So the Word of God gives us the advice, therefore be imitators of God as dear children. We were created in the image and likeness of God. The word Christian means that we are imitators of Christ. We are like His copy. We want to be like Him. And this is not a shame, because He is the standard of perfection. God is the standard of character, of perfection. He is the example of everything a person should aim to be. So it is not wrong, neither bad, or a lack of your own personality to imitate your Creator, the one who is problem. The problem is to imitate someone or something who doesn't even know what they're doing with their lives and just wants to set trends. They just want to show off. They only want to have followers. So not only the Holy Text advises to imitate God, as Paul says to the Corinthians, the Christians of the city of Corinth, saying, imitate me just as I also imitate Christ. It is not a problem for you to imitate someone. Returning to the be yourself advice, why is this one of the worst pieces of advice you can receive from someone? Think a little. Be yourself, which means I have to be me, according to this advice. But who am I? Who are you? What is inside you? This advice is saying, you don't need to change in anything. You are the most wonderful person in the world. You are the most right, most perfect person in the world. You need to change in nothing. Just follow the advice. But is that true? Are we the most wonderful person in the world who have nothing to change or improve? You will understand, in light of the Word of God, what is inside of us is precisely the opposite of what we should aim to be or imitate. Because according to the Word of God, our own hearts are a great deceiver. Here, in mine, in your hearts, inside our hearts, there are adultery, thoughts of violence, malice, envy, jealousy. All this is in us because we were already born in sin. We were born with this inheritance of sin within us. So if I want to be myself and bring all this that is within me out, I will be a better person? No, I will be an unbearable person, a life destroyer, relationship destroyer. I'll be proud, all bad. And I won't be happy with myself. I won't be happy with this person who I will become. So to follow the following advice, be yourself, is the worst thing you can do in your life. You shouldn't try to be yourself. You must understand that you are unique, different than others, which doesn't mean that you are in your best standard of perfection and you should not need to improve. You should look at the standard of perfection, which is God, and try to imitate Him in His character, to have a character of God, to imitate Him in the thoughts, to bring the thoughts of God inside of you, to imitate Him in His goals. What are God's goals? That you should aim towards the same goals, to aim to do, as we've said before. What would Jesus do if He was in your place? This should be your worry, to imitate who is worthy being imitated. So next time you listen to this advice from someone, run from it. Or if this person is open to listen, which I doubt, because usually who says that they look down their nose, they are certain of their truth, but if they are humble to listen to you, can educate them and teach them. Listen, friend, this is the worst advice you could give to someone because of this and that. Explain that to them. Who knows? You may help that person and do what Jesus would do if He was in your place. If today's video helped you and you know someone that could benefit from it, share it with them, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you may do so now. See you later.